Have you been waiting for the moment when the Vietnamese dong and the Iraqi dinar finally become the center of global financial attention? What if the economic changes taking place right now in Asia and the Middle East are laying the foundation for stronger currencies, increased foreign investment, and potentially significant long-term gains for investors? Today, we are diving into the latest developments surrounding the Vietnamese dong and the Iraqi dinar, examining the economic growth stories that continue to generate excitement among currency watchers around the world. While no government or central bank has officially announced a currency revaluation, recent economic indicators, investment trends, and policy developments are creating renewed discussions about the future potential of both currencies. The global economy is undergoing a major transformation. Countries that were once considered emerging markets are increasingly becoming important players in international trade, manufacturing, energy production, and foreign investment. Vietnam and Iraq stand out as two nations experiencing substantial economic evolution. Although they face different challenges and opportunities, both countries are working toward stronger economic fundamentals that supporters believe could eventually support greater currency stability and value. Vietnam continues to strengthen its position as one of the fastest-growing economies in Asia. International manufacturers have expanded operations throughout the country, attracted by a skilled workforce, competitive labor costs, improving infrastructure, and strategic geographic location. The nation has become a critical part of global supply chains, producing electronics, textiles, machinery, and consumer products for markets around the world. Economic growth in Vietnam has remained impressive despite periods of global uncertainty. Foreign direct investment continues flowing into industrial zones, technology parks, and manufacturing centers. Large multinational corporations are diversifying their production networks and increasing investments in Vietnamese facilities. This influx of capital contributes to job creation, technology transfer, export growth, and rising productivity. As exports expand, Vietnam's trade relationships become increasingly important. The country participates in numerous international trade agreements that provide businesses with access to major markets. These agreements support export competitiveness while encouraging additional foreign investment. Many analysts view these developments as positive indicators for the long-term strength of Vietnam's economy. Supporters of the Vietnamese dong often point to these economic achievements when discussing future currency prospects. Their argument is relatively straightforward. As economic output increases, exports grow, and foreign investment rises, demand for the local currency may strengthen over time. A growing economy typically creates a stronger foundation for currency stability. Although exchange rates are influenced by many factors beyond economic growth alone, Vietnam's government has also emphasized infrastructure development as a key priority. Investments in highways, ports, airports, logistics facilities, and digital connectivity are intended to improve efficiency and support future expansion. Improved infrastructure helps businesses reduce costs, move goods more effectively, and attract additional investment. Technology is another area where Vietnam continues making progress. The country has seen growth in software development, digital services, fintech innovation, and technology manufacturing. As higher value industries expand, they contribute to economic diversification and increase the country's competitiveness in global markets. At the same time, Vietnam's financial institutions have focused on maintaining stability. Monetary policy, inflation management, and banking sector reforms remain important priorities. Investors often monitor these factors closely because financial stability is a critical component of long-term economic success. Turning to Iraq, the story centers on reconstruction, economic reform, energy production, and efforts to diversify beyond oil dependence. Iraq possesses some of the world's largest energy resources, giving the country significant economic potential. Revenue generated through energy exports continues to play a central role in government finances and national development programs. Recent years have seen increased attention toward modernization initiatives, infrastructure projects, and economic reforms designed to strengthen the private sector. Policymakers have repeatedly emphasized the importance of creating a more diversified economy capable of generating sustainable growth beyond energy exports. The Iraqi government has pursued initiatives aimed at improving financial transparency, modernizing banking systems, encouraging investment, and strengthening economic institutions. International organizations have often highlighted the importance of these reforms in supporting long-term development and financial stability. Supporters of the Iraqi Dinar frequently focus on Iraq's substantial natural resources, strategic location, and reconstruction opportunities. They argue that continued economic progress could enhance investor confidence and strengthen the country's financial position. However, it is important to remember that currency values are determined by complex economic conditions, monetary policies, and market forces. One of the most closely watched aspects of Iraq's economic development is its banking sector modernization. Efforts to improve electronic payments, increase financial inclusion, and enhance banking infrastructure have attracted attention from investors and economic observers. Modern financial systems are often viewed as essential components of economic growth because they facilitate commerce, investment, and capital allocation. Foreign investment remains another important area. As security conditions improve and reforms continue, Iraq aims to attract capital into sectors such as energy, construction, telecommunications, transportation, agriculture, and manufacturing. Successful investment projects can contribute to employment, economic diversification, and infrastructure development. The energy sector continues serving as a major economic engine. Global energy demand and oil market conditions directly influence government revenues and economic performance. Strong energy exports provide resources that can be invested in public services, infrastructure, and development initiatives. At the same time, policymakers recognize the importance of expanding non-oil sectors to reduce economic vulnerability. When discussing the possibility of currency appreciation or revaluation, investors often examine a country's foreign reserves. Foreign reserves provide central banks with tools to support monetary stability and manage exchange rate pressures. Both Vietnam and Iraq have focused on maintaining financial stability through prudent economic management and reserve accumulation strategies. Economic growth stories from both countries have attracted attention because they represent different pathways toward development. Vietnam's success is often associated with manufacturing, exports, trade integration, and industrial growth. Iraq's potential is frequently linked to energy resources, reconstruction efforts, infrastructure investment, and economic reform. Market participants who follow the Vietnamese dong closely continue monitoring export performance, industrial production, foreign direct investment, inflation trends, and central bank policies. These indicators provide insights into the health of the economy and potential future developments. Similarly, Iraqi Dinar observers pay close attention to government reforms, energy revenues, banking modernization efforts, infrastructure projects, and international partnerships. Each of these factors can influence economic performance and investor sentiment. A key point that often gets overlooked in discussions about currency revaluation is the distinction between speculation and official policy. Economic growth alone does not automatically result in a revaluation. Central banks consider numerous factors, including inflation, competitiveness, trade balances, monetary stability, reserve levels, and broader economic objectives. This reality means that while economic progress may create favorable conditions, it does not guarantee specific exchange rate outcomes. Investors should carefully evaluate official information, economic data, and credible sources when making decisions. Nevertheless, optimism surrounding both currencies continues because of the broader economic trajectories of their respective countries. Vietnam's emergence as a manufacturing powerhouse and Iraq's ongoing reconstruction efforts provide narratives that many supporters find compelling. The international investment community increasingly recognizes Vietnam as a significant economic success story. Strong export growth, expanding industrial capacity, and rising consumer demand have contributed to positive economic momentum. As businesses continue investing in production facilities and supply chain operations, Vietnam's role in global commerce is expected to remain important. In Iraq, large-scale development projects are designed to improve transportation networks, electricity generation, housing availability, and public services. These investments aim to support economic activity while creating opportunities for future growth. Progress in these areas can help build confidence among domestic and international investors. Another factor generating discussion is demographic potential. Both countries have populations that can contribute to future economic expansion. Young workforces, increasing urbanization, and growing consumer markets create opportunities for business development and investment. Financial technology innovations are also transforming economic landscapes. Digital payment systems, online banking services, and financial inclusion initiatives help expand access to financial resources. These developments can increase economic efficiency and support broader participation in economic activity. Global investors often evaluate emerging markets based on several core criteria, including economic growth rates, political stability, regulatory environments, infrastructure quality, workforce capabilities, and investment opportunities. Improvements across these areas can enhance a country's attractiveness and support long-term development objectives. Currency watchers frequently debate whether economic growth eventually leads to stronger exchange rates. While there is no universal formula, healthy economic fundamentals often provide a stronger foundation for monetary stability. Sustainable growth, manageable inflation, diversified industries, and sound fiscal management are generally viewed as positive indicators. For Vietnam, continued success in attracting foreign investment remains an important theme. As companies expand operations and establish new facilities, demand for local services, labor, and infrastructure increases. This activity contributes to broader economic growth and strengthens the country's position within global supply chains. For Iraq, the challenge involves transforming resource wealth into diversified economic development. Investments in infrastructure, education, technology, and private enterprise can help create a more balanced and resilient economy capable of supporting long-term prosperity. Many investors are particularly interested in announcements related to economic reforms, regulatory improvements, investment incentives, financial sector modernization, and transparency initiatives often attract positive attention because they signal commitment to economic progress. At the same time, global economic conditions continue influencing both countries. International trade trends, commodity prices, interest rates, geopolitical developments, and financial market sentiment can all affect economic performance and currency markets. This interconnected environment highlights the importance of monitoring both domestic and international factors. Economic success depends not only on internal policies but also on external conditions that shape trade, investment, and financial flows. Looking ahead, analysts expect Vietnam to continue benefiting from manufacturing expansion, export growth, and infrastructure investment. The country's strategic position within global supply chains remains a significant advantage. Continued improvements in productivity and technology adoption could further strengthen economic performance. In Iraq, attention remains focused on reform implementation, infrastructure development, banking modernization, and economic diversification efforts. Progress in these areas may help unlock additional growth opportunities and attract increased investment. For currency enthusiasts, these developments provide reasons for continued interest in both the Vietnamese dong and the Iraqi dinar. Economic growth stories often capture attention because they suggest potential long-term improvements in national prosperity and financial stability. However, responsible analysis requires recognizing that currency markets are influenced by numerous variables. No credible source can guarantee future exchange rates or predict specific revaluation outcomes with certainty. Official announcements from governments and central banks remain the most reliable sources of information regarding monetary policy decisions. The broader story is ultimately about economic transformation. Vietnam continues advancing as a global manufacturing and export hub, while Iraq works toward reconstruction, modernization, and diversification. Both nations are pursuing strategies intended to improve living standards, attract investment, and strengthen economic foundations. As investors and observers watch these developments unfold, the focus remains on measurable indicators such as economic growth, infrastructure expansion, foreign investment, financial reforms, and institutional improvements. These factors provide valuable insights into the direction of each country's economy. The excitement surrounding the Vietnamese dong and Iraqi dinar reflects more than simple exchange rate speculation. It reflects interest in two nations undergoing significant economic change and seeking greater integration into the global economy. Whether discussing manufacturing growth in Vietnam or reconstruction initiatives in Iraq, the underlying theme is progress. The coming months and years will likely bring additional developments worth monitoring. New investment projects, trade agreements, infrastructure initiatives, banking reforms, and economic data releases will continue shaping perceptions about future prospects. Investors who stay informed and focus on verified information will be better positioned to understand these evolving stories. For now, the latest news remains centered on continued economic growth, reform efforts, investment activity, and development initiatives. These are the foundations upon which stronger economies are built. While speculation about future currencies' values will undoubtedly continue, the most important story is the ongoing effort by both Vietnam and Iraq to create sustainable economic growth, attract investment, expand opportunities, and build a more prosperous future for their citizens. As global markets watch closely, one thing remains clear. Economic transformation is underway, and both the Vietnamese dong and the Iraqi dinar remain at the center of conversations about emerging market potential, development opportunities, and the future of two economies, striving to achieve greater prosperity in an increasingly interconnected world.